Hey guys, sorry, Jerry's still out of control, destroying the Dark Void. But there's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out, so I knew I had to cover it. But thankfully, I actually did a video about the Ghostbusters 2 years ago, and I've been sitting on it, waiting for this movie to be released. So let's go check in with Josh from 2 years ago, and then come back after the video and check in with me. Please make sure I'm okay. All right, here we go. On this week's video, I'm coming at you from the past. It's October of 2019, and this video is not going to come out until the summer of 2020, but for good reason. That's right, we're actually be doing the Ghostbusters series, and there's a new entry coming out right about now-ish or so, and I figured I'd take a chance to get my good friend featured in here. But we're going to check out the continuity of the Ghostbusters timeline and see if it makes any sense. It's technically sort of a mini timeline, but not really. We're going to see if it holds up, and you know what, I'm looking forward to this one. And also really not. Okay, so Ghostbusters came out back in 1984, and why am I even rewatching this? I've seen this movie literally dozens of times. I can probably just do this video from memory. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! Oh man, that theme song just brings back the memories. As we meet Peter Venkman, lovable wise-ass, shocking a young student who should feel lucky to be shocked instead of run over by a red hell car. We also meet Ray Stantz and then Egon Spengler, the sadly departed Harold Ramis, and the boys witness their very first ghost, and little 1980s kids get traumatized. They rent out an old firehouse in order to get into business as paranormal investigators. Dana Barrett is here with neighbor Lewis, and man, what a cast in this movie. Everyone is so great that they make even the more mediocre performers seem even better. Dan Aykroyd. And hey, look, Stay Puft Marshmallows to set this up for later. So they have a secretary. What you doing down there, Egon? They get their first gig, and even though they're in New York City, they somehow end up here, in LA, at this hotel. They see this ghost and you're instantly thinking Slimer, and I guess ghosts are weird here. This is only the second one we've seen, and the first one was apparently a former librarian haunting her old job. So what did this used to be? Was Slimer a person at one point? What did it look like? Was it a man or a woman? Or is it just a manifestation of ectoplasm given its own life and identity? If so, does it qualify as a ghost? Whatever. Egon says,
"Don't cross the streams."
Because we need to know that they'll have to do that before the movie's over. And they catch the ghost, or whatevs. And news starts to spread, and we see this copy of USA Today that gives us our date, and we're set in October of 1984. And man, they must have rushed this Omni out the press. I mean, they just made headlines in early October, and they got this magazine out a few weeks later, which is pretty impressive for a magazine in the 80s. And wow, all the magazines came out in October of 1984, so they had a really busy month. And then Ray gets a ghost blowjob. It's the only scene in the whole movie that sticks out like a sore thumb of badness. It just doesn't fit the humor of the entire rest of the film. They hire help in the form of Winston Zeddemore. I like the black one.
He didn't do nothing.
And then a man with no dick appears as a member of the EPA, and he wants to know about the Ghostbusters containment grid. And I know the guy's a dick, but he's kind of right. I mean, they're housing paranormal entities in their basement with no security or fail-safes. The Ghostbusters themselves seem worried about the capabilities of the field, so concerns are obviously founded. Dana gets taken over by Zool and prepare to fall in love with Sigourney Weaver, and they shut down the containment grid because, you know, when you're storing dozens of paranormal entities, you basically want to have the whole thing just depend on one big red switch. The Gatekeeper and Keymaster unite, so the boys go to do final battle against Big Boss Gozer, and I love that the crowd freaks out when the Ghostbusters almost die here. as if they could possibly see what's going on at the top of this building. Gozer takes the form of good old Stay Puft, and then they decide to cross the streams because Chekhov's gun isn't going to shoot itself. And then there's this explosion. I mean, no one survived that, right? Well, yeah, I mean, everybody survived it, and they're triumphant. Surprisingly, it took 5 years to make a sequel, and wow, they tell us right off the bat that it's 5 years later. That was easy. So it's 1989 in the film, and Dana's back, and she has a little baby now. And Ray and Winston are reduced to doing kids' birthday parties. We find out Dana and Peter broke up, she got married, and said her marriage ended, so that was an eventful 5 years. And it also implies her husband left her while she was pregnant, or even possibly right after little Oscar was born. Venkman has a TV show now, and Janos shows up with an imposing painting. We're told that Oscar is 8 months old, so I guess they were mega celebrities for a while, but not big enough for these policemen to identify them. And the painting comes to life, and it turns out that there's a river of slime under the city, and Quentin Travers pops in, and Lewis is also back, but he's a lawyer now? I guess he got his law degree at night school. Ghosts reappear, so the boys are back in business, with Janine back as well, and we're in full swing. And what's up with this scene? I feel like Bill Murray was in midline and they just cut him off or something.
Hit it! Bye-bye.
Slimer's back, and they say this.
You're not sleeping with it, are you, Ray? Oh, you. It's always the quiet ones. You hound.
So they're insinuating that Egon had sex with the slime? How did that work? Why is that in here? Lewis and Janine get romantic, and the guys get sucked into a river of slime in a lost section of sewer, but somehow end up near a manhole, so I guess the section's not so lost after all. And oh man, thank goodness, we get a Bobby Brown cameo, because that's what this movie was really missing. In an odd twist, they have the Ghostbusters committed to an asylum, so they won't tell anyone about the slime river. Why wouldn't he want them to investigate that? The reputation isn't that great, so if they find nothing, you write them off as kooks, and if they do, you're credited with helping save the city. At about an hour and 15 minutes in, there finally seems to be some sort of plot as ghost nanny Janos kidnaps Oscar. It's complicated. Things get chaotic in the city, and suddenly there's a bunch of ghosts, which is weird because there doesn't really seem like there should be a link between Vigo and ghosts. He's connected to the slime, and I guess that makes giant monsters for some reason all of a sudden. Speaking of sudden, Cheech? Sure, why not? And then, here's where things really go off the rails. They cover the Statue of Liberty with slime, and then play a pop song, which I guess makes them able to control it, and she walks into the city? Lewis suits up while seeing a giant Statue of Liberty walk down the street. I guess it causes such good feelings in New York. It negates the slime, and they repel in to save the day.
That was really stupid.
I agree. Vigo shows up, but everyone's singing Auld Lang Syne outside injures him because of the positivity.
That was really stupid.
They blast the painting and save the day, and Vigo's painting becomes... this?
Really stupid.
So that was it for these guys, since any and all efforts to kick off Ghostbusters 3 basically went down in flames, mostly due to Bill Murray just not wanting to do it. There was a script for a third one called Hellbent, in which the boys would go up against the devil, and possibly be about the Ghostbusters, or at least some of them training a new younger group to take over the franchise, because look at how well that worked for Scrubs. Everything went back and forth until Ramis' death in 2014, but a stop to things as Ivan Reitman bowed out completely. That led us into remake/reboot territory with 2016's Ghostbusters Answer the Call, which, from the trailer, seemed like it would take place in-universe, although the film itself revealed it to be a separate continuity. Okay, now I'm going to take a second to address this because I guess it needs to be addressed, because at the time that this movie comes out, there was an awful lot of hate for the trailer and for the movie itself, just basically based around the fact that it was the Ghostbusters, but with women instead of men. And a lot of people were very mad at the movie specifically for that, which is pretty screwed up. But then there was also a lot of people that were saying that you can't speak negatively about this movie, and if you did criticize it in any way, shape, or form, it was because you were women-hating misogynists. Now, it should be no surprise that I hate this movie. I hate it. But that has nothing to do with it being an all-female cast. It has to do with it being this specific female cast. I'm sorry, but Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, and Leslie Jones just aren't my type of funny. Their SNL brand of humor is the exact type of comedy I stay away from. If they had made a Ghostbusters remake with Adam Sandler, David Spade, Robin Schneider, and I don't know, Chris Kattan, I can guarantee you I'd have the same opinion. I actually like the idea of a female team of Ghostbusters, but it's a comedy, so make them funny, not whatever this is. It starts with Gabe and some ghost action, and we meet Aaron, and Stan Sitwell pops up, and Tywin Lannister, and I guess this is a tribute to Harold Ramis, but it just kind of looks creepy, and the camera lingers on it for a little too long. Like hey, you guys recognize this? Amazon tells us that tomorrow is September 4th, so it's early September, and we meet Abby, and then Holtzman, whose whole character is basically to just mug at the camera, and then they encounter their first ghost. And a video gets posted on YouTube, and it's uploaded in October of 2014, so I guess that's when this is set. And I guess this video causes Erin to lose her job for some reason, and then Abby too, in these really prolonged attempts at comedy. It takes them about 5 minutes to do what the original film did in one. We then meet Patty and Rowan, who I guess is our villain, and I guess he's bringing ghosts over for revenge at being bullied. They go to the firehouse, but can't afford it, so they go above a Chinese restaurant and make faces at the camera. Kevin, God of Thunder, shows up looking all hunky, and then this graffiti artist paints the old logo. Oh, hey guys, hey, remember this? And then, whoa, okay, this video went up in April of 2016, so either there's a big time jump between them getting fired and now, or that first video has a defective date and we're really in real-time 2016. Some of the comments on the video are from 2 months ago, so I guess even more time has passed since the subway, and it's like the summer of 16. Patty gets them a car, more faces. They do testing of the proton packs and spend a whole bunch of time and attempted humor doing it. Again, spending lots of time to flesh out things that don't really need fleshing out for really long amounts of time. This happens.
Is normal and a valid science.
Thank you for requesting this.
Why don't I see ghosts flying around everywhere?
Oh my god, I hate this movie. Bill Murray shows up as a skeptic, and they suit up, and they say not to cross the streams. Do you think that they will? And then they kill Bill Murray. Andy Garcia pops in as the mayor, makes faces. Janine makes a cameo, and they find Rowan, and he kills himself, so of course becomes a ghost. And this New York Post is dated June 2016, so we're definitely in 2016. Rowan unleashes all the ghosts, and Dan Aykroyd makes his cameo, and Slimer appears for some reason, as does Stay Puft. And then there's, oh god, a dancing scene for no reason. And Rowan can control people. See, he's controlling their actions. So when the Ghostbusters show up, he's just gonna control them, right? Right? Big fight, more mugging. And Rowan actually becomes the freaking Ghostbusters ghost. And I don't know, maybe control them now. He froze the entire police squad in place, but he can't do it to them? Why? They cross the streams, but it doesn't do anything, so I guess so much for that whole plot point. Then blow up Slimer and, shoot him in the dick. Then they even jump into the hell porthole. It's a lot. It's like 20 plot events in 2 minutes. The same amount of plot points they previously went through in 2 hours. Ernie Hudson makes his cameo, Sigourney pops in, and a post-credit scene promises us Zool. And that finally brings us to this year's Ghostbusters Afterlife, which will apparently ignore the reboot and return to the classic continuity. It's directed by Ivan Reitman's son Jason and features the return of Venkman, Stantz, and Zedmore, as well as Dana Barrett. Paul Rudd has joined the cast, along with Stranger Things star Finn Wolfhard. The film is apparently about Egon's grandkids, which is kind of interesting in terms of the timeline, considering that in 1989, Egon didn't have any children, wasn't married at all, no girlfriend even, and that would only be about 31 years or 30 years or so, depending upon when this one is set, after Ghostbusters 2. So, here's the thing. He would have either had to have a kid that he did not know about, or his kid would have had to have a child at a very, very young age, because these kids are like 13 and 14 years old. They're not like little kids. So they would have had to have grown up. So there's definitely something going on with that timeline there. But I guess we'll find out when the film is released very shortly. It would also be remiss to not mention the other forms the Ghostbusters had appeared in, and the first doesn't really count because it's The Ghostbusters, a live-action show from 1975 about a couple of paranormal detectives and their gorilla friend, Kong, hunting down ghosts. It's unrelated to the films, of course, but was brought back in an animated form in 1986 because of them. Also, most famously, there was a cartoon series called The Real Ghostbusters that ran for 7 seasons from 1986 to 1991, and it was called The Real Ghostbusters because of the other show and a legal dispute. The show had the premise of sort of being a sequel, although they're in a separate universe from the film, and the show actually claimed that the film was a movie version of their own exploits. It's responsible for popularizing the Slimer character, who would soon become an integral part of the franchise, and as for me, I will never get over swapping out Garfield for Uncle Joey. It was followed up in 1997 with Extreme Ghostbusters, continuing the story, with Egon leading a new, younger group, and it ran for a single season before being cancelled. There's also been quite a few video games released, with Dan Aykroyd claiming that the 2009 video game was canon to the series, which actually featured the voices of all of the original actors. Whether or not it will remain in canon remains to be seen with the release of the new film. And there's comic books, so many comic books, with several different interpretations, including continuations of the film characters, as well as the animated ones, but none that are considered canon. So there you have it. It's 3 movies, comic books, video games, everything. And yeah, it's about to be a 4th. Continuity holds up between the first and 2 obviously really well. There isn't really a lot of things in there that don't make any sense. They kept the timeline pretty solid. Obviously there's some things in the second film that don't really make a lot of sense, but has nothing to do with continuity. And then for the 3rd, they just jump ship into a different area. It'd be interesting to see where the 4th one goes in terms of the continuity. I guess it's technically the 3rd one of the original continuity. It'd be interesting to see where that goes. So let me know what you thought of this one down below. Let me know what you thought of Ghostbusters 2, or what you thought of the new Ghostbusters, or maybe you're one of those weirdos that thinks that the original Ghostbusters isn't that good. I hope you're not. But let me know what you thought of this video and what else you want to see from this series, and I'll be, I hope the future's going okay. Obviously, hopefully 2020's working out better than 2019 is right now, so I hope you guys are doing well in the future there. Also, I hope that I still have patrons. These guys are my patrons. I'm hoping that I still have some. next summer, but if I do, they're gonna go right here. You can also help patronize the channel as well too if you want by going to patreon.com and checking it out. In the meantime, I'll see you in a little while for another great video. Thanks, guys. Bye. Oh, bye, Stay Puft. Thanks, Past Josh. Okay, guys, look, geez, I don't know what to do anymore. I think I'm at the end of my rope here. I don't know what to do. Jerry, I'm sorry, buddy. I've tried coexisting. We've tried doing this thing, but it's just not working anymore. I'm gonna have to resort to extreme measures. Bustin' makes me feel good.